Hello and welcome. So let's have a look at what's going on with Matic then, shall we? And if we have topped out yet, or what's likely to happen this evening, tonight, tomorrow, into next week. Now I'm sort of on the fence that Matic might have reached its top right this moment. It's likely to go a little further, but there's one thing that I need to let you all in on. So basically, if you watch my channel, I've had many a video on Matic, but over the last couple of weeks, while we were waiting for this big move to happen, and then while it's been going on, I've basically said that I would be expecting a 3-cent Matic by Christmas. So obviously, it would appear that we've achieved that, but I'm expecting some kind of pullback, and it's not because it's not going to go higher. Matic will probably go higher. It does have to have a pullback at some point. Now, when is that pullback going to be, and how deep will it be? I couldn't tell you how deep it would be. However, going on a daily chart, we've basically got these moving averages here and these supports that we could fall down to as far as the large correction is concerned. So we're talking 3.5 cent area, where I would imagine a significant support to kick in. That'd be big pullback number one. In the new year, I would expect to see Matic continuing to make big moves, and we might be breaking our all-time high tonight, definitely. We could also be pulling back over this next few days. One thing you've got to look at is this, which is Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin has been underneath the descending trend for such a long time now. Every time we come close to the descending trend, we get rejected from it. However, these last couple of days, these last 3 days, we've been nudging our way, chipping away at it. And this is what you would want to see if there was a likelihood of us breaking out of it, which we might do. But as we've not broken out of it yet, there is a chance that we will pull back from it. And we could just pull back and fall back down deeper into the 7,000 and maybe even down to our previous low point over time. We've got some moving averages beneath us, some decent ones. It looks like we're being supported on at least the 7-day. But the majority of the moving averages are above us and they're still sloping down. So it's definitely a bearish chart that we're looking at here. It's definitely bearish. And if we pull back, all coins, everything will pull back, because it'll signify a deeper pullback into these areas here, to the 7,000 or so. Now we are about to close a weekly, and the weekly is going to look okay. This could be the second week in the green that we've had. We should be okay. However, the chart is still bearish, and that will impact poor old Matic just by default, because a big correction with Bitcoin back below 7,000 will likely continue into the 6,000, 6,600 again, and that will pull everything back with it. Matic won't be able to avoid a pullback at that point. Now, if Matic's still got the momentum to carry on, which it probably will do, unless of course it decides to collapse in on itself of its own accord, which, judging by the way that the volume's been adding up on Matic, I don't think that's likely to happen. I think if it pulls back, it will pull back. There'll be a decent pullback on it, but I think we'll be looking to bounce around this area of 3.5 cent. But Bitcoin is going to be the one that decides if Matic, calls it a day early, if it throws in the towel early, and then we'll have to see how everything bounces from there. Now, there is a chance that Bitcoin will break out of this, and that will basically mean it's going to go bullish. And it's at that point where I would also imagine that coins like Matic, they won't suffer, but their sats might suffer, because it would mean that Bitcoin has now become bullish. Everybody's going to want to take their money out of altcoins and throw them straight into Bitcoin, because Bitcoin will then at that point be the biggest mover, the biggest gainer. Anyway, like I said, I don't want to be the party pooper. I do expect Matic to reach its all-time high quite soon. If it does not do it tonight or tomorrow or next week, it will certainly be doing it in the early part of January, provided that Bitcoin hasn't halved in its value already. There's a chance that Bitcoin, worst case scenario, will come down into this. Will come down into this lower zone here, if it breaks this area. And if it does come into this lower zone, that would probably be its bottom. That's 4,900 area, and then we will break out. It's only once we've broken out of this descending trend we go bullish on Bitcoin. We do still have that death cross that we have to acknowledge, you know, and that is on the daily chart. Let's have a quick look at the monthly just for fun. It's a very, very, very poor monthly chart. 3 reds, 1 green, another red, and it appears that we might be looking at a green for December. But again, it's not the greatest looking chart, and it is the dominating crypto out there. And you know, whatever Bitcoin does, most other coins will simply follow with that. And if we decide that it's coming back down below 7,000, it's reasonable to assume that we'll be coming back down below 6,000 at some point into the 5,000s, and that will drain money out of the market. So Matic will suffer from that. Anyway, for the moment, let's go to the 5-minute chart just to see, because this is how we're having to trade something like this at the moment. 5-minute chart is finding significant rejections around this topping area here. This is where we topped out a few times, just above 2.5 cent. A few times here before a significant pullback. This was partially of its own doing, but also Bitcoin was having a bit of a moment, came down $100, and it took us down too. However, because I've been trading this now for a while, I've been holding Matic for the majority of the year, accumulating it all the way. So I generally aren't trading it, but I am looking to take profits, and I'm thinking I might be looking to take profits soon on this, because a pullback will be coming. It's gone up 4x. If it goes up much faster, then a pullback will probably be deeper than we'd all like. But yeah, when we look at this chart, we basically see that it tops out and then has a day or so rest, which is what it did yesterday. Yesterday was a day of rest. We broke above here and we came back down all the way down to this level here, which is quite a large drop. Just measure that one out from top to bottom. So this area is being felt again at the moment. So it was 11.5%. That area of basically we'll call it 4.2 cent is still an area of resistance for Matic, and this is a new thing for Matic. These levels that we're at now are relatively new. We have burst through them at the beginning of the year, around May, but we're finding essentially new resistance levels as we go, and 4.2 cent does appear to be a resistance level. It appears to be quite a strong one. We have broke through it again today, but we're tailing off again, and I expect once we break above there, we shouldn't find it too hard to make our way towards that 4.5 cent, where I would probably expect to see a really big pullback and correction at that point, only because that's the obvious place to sell. That's its all-time high. You could also look at the Sats levels. Sats levels almost topped out, which was we had 570. Its all-time high is 573, so we almost reached our all-time high. My expectation now is that to play it safe, what people are doing is they're having their sell orders just above the all-time highs, just a few fractions away from it, to front run everybody who's probably the sort of, I suppose, the retail investors, and the ones who aren't quite up to scratch with the way that things work. They're being front run basically. So you want to make big sell orders. You want to make sure that your orders are fulfilled. You'll do it just before everybody else is going to be doing, which like I say, most people are going to want to sell it on the dot of where the all-time high was. I think if you really want to be taking profit, you want to be selling it just before. So the Sats level is definitely being front run like that. I would also expect the tether value to be done that way. So to play it safe, I'm not a financial advisor. It's not financial advice, but looking to perhaps maybe sell at around about 4.42 or something like that, just to make sure that you get your orders filled, because there probably will be, like I say, a big correction. Now, in the event that it bursts right through that 4.5 area, which it could do, then the sky technically would be the limit at that point. However, I'm not really anticipating that to happen tonight or maybe even tomorrow, because I do think whatever Bitcoin decides to do, which I'm not a perma bear, but the majority of my indicators do suggest, a bearish move back down into this descending wedge, this descending triangle. Most of my indicators do suggest that would happen, and that would, like I say, impact the rest of the market. Anyway, the fun has not completely finished, but it's drawing to a close for the moment. Might be worth considering taking profits, and if not, having some very tight stop losses in to set, to lock in some profit at least with Matic, in the event that this goes horribly wrong, because it could do, guys. Let's face it, it could do. But anyway, it's not for me to tell you how to trade, but that's certainly how I am doing it. I'm adjusting my stop loss all the time, staring at that 5-minute chart. I'm prepared for it to move up, but I'm also prepared for it to dump, because all eyes are on Bitcoin, and Bitcoin looks like it wants to dump. Anyway, I'm going to leave it with you there. I hope you had a nice weekend. Thanks for all your comments and donations and things like that. I very much appreciated. You can always tell that some people have been making a lot of money, which I'm sure you have, because a lot of my subscribers have been on this Matic train with me, for months now. So I know that you've all been buying Matic, and so I would have expected most of you to at least have doubled or tripled your equity there. So congratulations to all of you. Pat yourself on the back, and I can feel the love, because I am getting donations from you all. So it sounds like you've all got a little bit more money than you're used to. So I do appreciate it, because I do have a baby on the way. In fact, due in January. So things are going to be quite expensive for me, and I'm going to take a fair bit of time off work for that. So yeah, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. Anyway, hope you have a nice evening. Take it easy.